So, welcome, Karol, to this episode of From Depression to Expression. And I'm almost stumbling over my other podcast name here. We had a great talk a few days ago, and you're a hypnotherapist, right?
Yes. Hi, Oliver. Hi, everyone. It's really great to be here with you today. Yes, that's correct. I'm a hypnotherapist.
And you're not Italian, as I thought first when we talked. You're Polish and you live in the UK.
That's correct.
Yes, that's awesome. And we had a longer talk last time, and therefore I said, this is really good. This is going to be great to talk about these different things, right? From depression to expression, from the traumas, from the limiting beliefs, from the heaviness to the finding yourself and express yourself freely. And what you as a therapist can say about that, what your experiences are. But first, let me try to loosen us a bit up and get to know who you are. How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
Oh, that's a very challenging question.
Not that you say 1, 2, 3, but like 3 words which describe you, and you can go and say like, I'm brave because I always jump in the cold water or whatever, like in this manner.
Yeah, so three words that I would say. The first word that describes me is human, being human. The second word that I would use is undecided. And the third one, that's a challenge, I suppose, to express. Third word. What would that be? What is the first thing that comes to my mind? Present.
Present. Human, undecided, present. I mean, human, I hope we know all why. At least you don't look green or blue with weird extensions on your body. And undecided, how comes you would describe yourself as undecided?
One of the my aim is always to stay as open-minded as I can and always ask questions. Why? What is happening? What is the nature of my experience? What is the nature of my beliefs? Where those beliefs are coming from? Where my thoughts are coming from? What is the source of my emotions? And we very often go through life believing in certain dogma. And my aim is to go beyond those dogmas and realize that I am not my beliefs, I am not my thoughts. So I often ask myself, and that's why I say undecided, because although perhaps the word questioning would be better than undecided, because I don't subscribe particularly to any philosophy, or I don't subscribe to any part of beliefs. I'm searching and I'm questioning.
Okay, yeah. First thing was coming to mind when you explained was also curious. When you're open-minded, curious about yourself, curious about the world could also be something, but questioning and evolving.
Yeah.
Because you always ask yourself. And present, how do you describe that?
I'm practicing mindfulness meditation. I suppose the practice that I'm doing is rooted in Vipassana Buddhist practice. And my aim, again, whether you can say that you have any aims in meditation, I see meditation not... I'm working to break the boundaries between the formal practice of meditation to the rest of life, because life is happening all the time. You are accessing the reality through the present moment. And of course, when you have the formal meditation, when you sit down cross-legged and when you meditate, then you have that access, the direct access to reality, if you like. But sometimes when you go with a dog for a walk, or when you wash dishes, or when you attending your son, or whatever you're doing, the reality gets in the way. It's very easy to lost being in touch with what is happening. It's very easy to go and think about something else and be lost in mind. So I'm trying my best to bring that quality of presence into every single moment of my life, whether I'm succeeding or no. That's the lifelong project that I'm signing up for.
Yeah, hopefully we all do in some degree, learning to be more present. I know I have not been, and a lot of times I'm not, because the thoughts are on a project or something you did or said or someone else said.
And this is what we are designed to do. Our brains are massive information processing machines, and they create that illusion. They create the reality that we operate in. And you find yourself daydreaming for about 50% of your time. I think it's over 600 individual instances over the day, which is mind-boggling, because you daydream almost as often as you are awake.
Okay.
And even though you are awake, you very often just repeat the patterns that are your subconscious patterns.
Yes, and that's yeah, that's something I can see. Like you're caught in the same day, and you want to get out of it. That's good. Let's look at that a bit further. I'm curious, with these questions I have on the Oliver Shearer show, so I'll take them with you as well. You would be a new color in a coloring box. What color would you be? You can get creative, right? It doesn't not have to be yellow, red, and blue. It can also be banana. It can be glitter. It can be transparent. What would describe you as this new color in this coloring box?
I think this is part of my logical mind that is kicking off now, because I think there was this research done some time ago that is almost impossible to create a new color, is because we know we kind of, our eyes are able to see that 16 million colors on the color palette, and it's very difficult to kind of come up with something else. But when I sometimes in a meditation, when I breathe in the colors that calms me down, what I see is the mist, like that fog, but it's the very colorful fog. It's all of the colors interchangeably and changing all the time. There is a lot of kind of bluish and yellowish and greenish and pinkish. So it's just this beautiful combination of colors. I love all of the colors. So I would like to have a bit of all of them in me.
So you're colorful.
I like to think so.
Yes, I'm getting a little bit of pictures so I can go down different rabbit holes, right? Let's see what comes up for the next one. You can choose how you answer. It could be either a fun fact about you, not so many people know, or a secret, not that many people know about you.
Whew. Fun fact or secret fact? You know that I'm so rubbish with questions like that. It's unbelievable, like how rubbish I can get. Like, and when it comes to quizzes or questions like that, it's I feel like, and maybe this is a subject for the hypnotherapy, but it's like I have mental block.
Yeah, but it's something you love to do, but you realize your work colleagues or friends don't know. I mean, we talked about, I can see now the ones which see the YouTube, they get the picture of you, right? There's a Lego space shuttle or whatever rocket behind you. There's two guitars, an electric and an acoustic. There's a lot of books. Are those things everyone know about you? You mentioned before that you're buying yourself a Lego set for Christmas every year and spend some time playing. Is that one of these secrets you have, or?
Um, one of the things about me is the fact that I like to be open, and sometimes I'm too open. So it's that's why when you say fun fact or secret fact, it's difficult to come up with something, because I sometimes talk too much. I sometimes believe, and I'm like, I don't know whether you ever seen the Tibetan screaming bowl. It's like, I actually
Yes.
have it here. I sometimes feel that I'm like the Tibetan singing bowl. Like when you kind of set it off, it never shuts up.
Oh, so you have the right job as a hypnotherapist. I don't know, but okay, let's go down there. So we know now that you love to share and be open. You're curious. You're questioning the life. You're a human being, and your aim is to be more and more present in the now. Be as colorful as possible. How did you end up choosing the path of hypnotherapist? Is that something which was lingering in you all the time since childhood, or were you just stumbling over it because of whatever, a coincidence?
I was 11 or 12, and I had experienced some bullying at the school. And actually that bullying was coming up from the teacher. That was kind of comparing me to my oldest brother, who was kind of genius in everything that he was doing. And I had the moments in my academic career that I wasn't doing so well. And I experienced a bit of bullying, and I didn't feel confident going to the school. So my parents took me they were looking for different alternatives for the therapy, and they took me to the hypnotherapist. And after one session with that guy, I felt like, oh my God, it is incredible, like going into that altered state of consciousness. What's going on? This is something very, very powerful. And I think I had 2 or 3 sessions with him, and maybe going to the school wasn't still like my best favorite activity. I felt much more confident and much calmer. So it wasn't the issue any longer. And yes, ever since I was 11 or 12, I thought, yeah, I want to do something about in that field, in the hypnotherapy or or therapy, because it's very, very powerful thing, and a very fascinating thing to do. And then since that age, I was reading quite a lot about different religious traditions and spiritual traditions from all over the world. I got hold of books on like neuro-linguistic programming and things like that. And when I think it was 2008 when I did my first qualifications as a hypnotherapist. And but then I was very young, and I think my ego kind of took it over, and I went really into kind of stage hypnotherapy, or not stage hypnotherapy, stage hypnosis, fun hypnosis. And yeah, I'm not doing that any longer. But that's kind of my beginnings with the therapy. And yeah, all over the different years and different career paths that I was doing, the element of helping people and working with people was very important. So I worked as life skills instructor for people with autism and challenging behaviors and Asperger. I work as a mentor for people with mental health, like helping them accessing the community after periods of isolation. I work with people with the profound and multiple learning disabilities. I worked as learning designer and academic developer for some time, helping people to get out the best of the education. And yeah, that's kind of my path to becoming a hypnotherapist.
Yeah, helping people by realizing how much it helped yourself, right?
Yeah.
And now, when you mention, your ego took over and stage performance and fun hypnosis, I remember in 2017, during the Danish city Aarhus was the European capital of culture, or whatever, every 2 years there's one city which is like the capital of Europe. So we had this events here where I live, and we had a hypnotherapist or whatever, clairvoyant or whatever you want to call him, showing up. So he figured out what kind of a number someone was thinking of, and just by looking at the person, he just said it's about reading the person. And what he shared about hypnosis, so it was very interesting. So how is it when you were on stage and doing this fun acts, stage performance, so to speak, what kind of people are you able to to put in this state of hypnosis, and what people are difficult or not possible to put?
So there are many tests that you do before you select people to go on stage. So you see someone who is highly hypnotizable, who is not. So you do that suggestibility test, and you select the people who are the most suggestible. And of course, when you go on, it's when everyone has a completely different experience, and this is the most fascinating thing about any research, or when we talk about the consciousness, that this is such a subjective and experience for everyone that we don't even have words to convey what does it mean to everyone to be hypnotized, or what those altered state of consciousness is. We use language to establish some common grounds, but everyone, that experience is different for everyone. So for some people, being on the stage, they might feel, oh, I'm a little bit under pressure because people are looking at me, and I need to perform not to fail that guy who is hypnotizing me, or I don't want to fail those guys who are on the stage with me or in the theater with me. Some other folks might be more like, oh, they just go into such a deep trance and they perform. So yeah, but basically you select the people who are the most hypnotizable.
And is there a certain characteristic of those people when you meet them in life? Are more? I think to remember this hypnotizer which we saw said the people which are very focusable, right? When there's a lot of stress in life, let's say they're in an apartment and it starts getting fire, these are the people which know exactly how to focus without getting distracted. So these are the ones easiest to hypnotize. Is that something like that you have also experience in?
There are many talks and the many features that are mentioned when it comes to the hypnotizability. At the beginning of work with anyone, I think that ability to leave that need for control. Everyone's got some kind of need of control and control the environment, but if you can leave that, hand the control over to someone else, that is good trait for hypnotizability. But there are, and that's my personal opinion, I know that there are more research needs to be done to back this up, but there are some scales, the hypnotizability scales that have been used since like 70s, that were looking into the traits that that those people are hypnotizable and those people are not, and all of that. In my practice, I feel that the most important thing when it comes to hypnosis is the relationship between people. The hypnosis is a process, it's not a thing. It's something that we co-create. We go along the same path. And after a while of working with people, when that trust, that relationship is being built, I believe that everyone can experience that altered state of consciousness through the hypnosis, because it's such a natural state that everyone has access to. But there is a lot of misconceptions about what hypnosis is. There is a lot of bad fame and bad PR about hypnosis, and you've got those evil hypnotists, or there is this new Netflix movie about evil hypnotherapists and all of that. But hypnosis it's not like that at all.
Okay,
it's all about the relationship with people.
Okay, so yeah, I realize I'm probably going too much down this road, but I didn't know about this Netflix or Viaplay or Amazon documentary. But let's stay on what is a hypnosis. I mean, for me, it was also kind of weird. It must be 2.5 years ago. I went for 2 sessions, but it was too expensive for me to do it more, right? It was twice as expensive as other therapies, and the insurance didn't cover it, which is funny because hypnotherapy has been here for a long time. So there's some kind of research backing up that it helps people. So especially, when you're blocked. So I was surprised when I went there what happened. So what is hypnosis? Because you talk about altered state of consciousness and trust building between the therapist and the hypnotizer and the client. So what is hypnosis?
Okay, so this is very complex question. what hypnosis is, and hypnosis is a process. It's something that you co-create with the person who is with you, whether this is online session or whether this is face-to-face session or telephone session. It's a process, and it is a process that enables you to access certain parts of your mind that are not normally accessible. Okay, so that's the best way kind of to describe. And of course, there are many neuro correlates that we can look in the brain, like brain waves and the way like affinity of neurons and all of that, and what parts of brain are flashing up when people are subjected to hypnosis. But let's not go into that here, because I think there are many more important things to talk about when we talk about hypnosis, which is the subjective experience. And hypnosis is a natural state that occurs. So is that often people refer to hypnosis to that state when you drive, and you drive for a long period of time, and you get to the place, your destination, and you look back at the journey, and you think, oh, how did I get here? So that kind of state is something that hypnosis might feel like. And of course, in order to talk about hypnosis, we need to think about what is mind, what is subconscious mind, what is conscious mind. And there is as many people there are so many people, so many theories about what mind is, what the consciousness is, that is very difficult to put that in like a kind of the category what makes sense to some people, what might not make sense to some people. But the other way to describe the hypnosis is basically, and I think that we were talking about this in the pre-call, imagine that you have a room full of clutter, full of stuff that you keep gathering all your life, and you every time you go somewhere, you go to shop, you bring more stuff, and everything that you have in that room, whether this is a couch or TV or table or boxes with the old papers or whatever, these are like kind of the social conditioning or the conditioning or experiences that you have. And those experiences kind of, and the way they are located in that room, the empty room of your mind, those boxes, those items direct your path through that room. So if you have plenty of boxes there, plenty of items. It is very difficult to navigate through that room. So hypnosis is working together with an experienced therapist that you can really go through those items in that room and see, oh, do I really need that? Can I change that? If I remove that from that place, would that make my navigation through that room easier? So it's like kind of the decluttering. It's accessing that state of brain or mind that you wouldn't normally access to. And because in the hypnosis, you are going into the different waves, brain waves, because you are going into that altered state of consciousness, that logical part of your mind sometimes is kind of pushed back a little bit. So what happens then? You create a new narration, you create a new story about yourself, you create a new relationship with yourself, with your past, and with your future. And sometimes it takes so many sessions of course, the counseling and different modalities in psychotherapy or counseling are super effective, as well as hypnosis, but sometimes hypnosis can be seen as elevator. So if you're going to the counseling or psychotherapy in different modalities, sometimes it seems like you are taking the stairs to climb the floors. In the hypnotherapy, sometimes when you, for example, want to access the repressed memories, it's like taking a lift. So you are getting to the same point as you would do with the different modalities of psychotherapy, but sometimes hypnosis helps you to access it much quicker. And the final thing, I said counseling and psychotherapy and hypnotherapy, and to me, hypnotherapy is a branch of psychotherapy. It's different modality. It shouldn't be seen as therapy, the separate part of the therapy. To me, the psychotherapy, like, you've got different modalities in psychotherapy, like Gestalt, CBT, psychodynamic, blah, blah, blah. And hypnotherapy is one of them. Like that, it shouldn't be seen as separate kind of tool, it's or separate branch of therapy. It's just one of the tools that psychotherapists can use in work with clients.
So are you working as a psychotherapist as well, or are you a hypnotherapist alone?
I am currently trainee with UKCP, so as trainee psychotherapist with the UKCP. So I'm registered hypnotherapist and trainee psychotherapist.
Okay, so you want to combine those two in your work. Now I start to get a better picture because I have no idea, right? There's like so many different hypnotherapies. And for me, so now my experience, to add to this talk from 2.5 years ago, is that I went there and there was this lady. It was at her place, right? Because she doesn't need much, right? You need a cozy room. You need to feel connected, as you said, right? So I went there, I felt really connected. She had this nice room, the typical, bed, you lay down, as we know from all the movies. And I expected her to talk to me and all these things. But what she basically did, what I remember, right? So I might have forgotten a lot of things, was her helping me to relax, right? Mm-hmm. Counting down. And I've heard that on YouTube, self therapies. You can get Michael Seeley, I think it's his name, is one of the bigger names. The other one I don't remember. So the like two guys are always popping up when I look for, self therapy, inner child travel and stuff like that. And then they continuously talk, right? And they have a lot of time music, which should help according to their frequency. But what she did was just talk me down. I do not remember all the beginning, but what I remember was the part of like you stare on this staircase and you visualize this nice place and you feel how you walk down one step at a time. And then she counted down. And then now I think for her was something like you step onto a big meadow a field of grass. It's beautiful. You're relaxed. You lay down there, and you just relax. And somehow I just was gone. And if she was talking after that, I don't know. I had the feeling she was not talking. I had the feeling I'm just laying there. I have my eyes closed, and I can open them whenever I want, and just tell her, like, see, it doesn't work. I'm still here. I'm fully conscious. I can just open my eyes and sit up. And, I was like, didn't really know what to expect. I thought somehow I'm more in trance. For me, it was a lot of colors I saw in front of the eyes. It's like when you close your eyes and then the sun is passing and the shadows, right? Sometimes it's yellow, red. And then she started talking again and said, don't actually remember how she got me back, right? What are the steps? Something like you start to wake up, you start to be conscious, you start to be in your body, something like that, I guess she said, on the count of 5, on the count of 10. And I was just very relaxed. And for me, it was just like, I don't remember if I saw pictures or something. It was just colors, which was very chaotic in the beginning. And then they got more and more calm, this picture you get with closed eyes. I had the feeling it was more the eyelids, shining, the light coming through the eyelids that I saw, like the blood, which is, of course, when the sun is shining through your eyes, then you have like this red view, right? Because of the blood. And that was it. And she just said, like, wow, that was great. How deep I relaxed. You didn't expect it because of all the energy which I'm carrying. And I'm like, that was my experience with these 2 sessions I had. And now I'm going to a friend which is doing acupressure, acupuncture. He learns from a Chinese guy, and he learned now bars, BARS. It's a part of a bigger thing. I don't remember exactly the whole name. And he said he wanted to try that with me. And the funny thing is, it felt to me almost like the hypnosis I went to, because I was thinking I should go back to some therapy, but I'm like, how do I afford it at the current situation? And then he had this offer for massage, and then he said, I just have this feeling I should try that. And I was laying down and I had the same feeling. And what was interesting, from my elbow to my fingertips, my hands were very heavy. So it's like this, like, when I woke up, I felt like this tense in the hands. So that's my experience I had. So I don't know, you're a trained hypnotherapist. So what is your take on that?
First of all, I would like to ask you, how did it feel? Like, how did you feel during it and when you woke up?
Yes. So this is, of course, 2.5 years ago, right? So there's a lot of layers of experience, memory on top, which can confuse it. But as I said, now bars is something I try to do every week. There are things coming in between, right? Today, my daughter is coming, so I cannot do it. But it feels like I'm just very relaxed, right? And with bars, especially now when I do it, I can really feel the energy flowing into my arms. Every session, I have like 5 or 6 sessions now behind me. It feels like the energy goes more and more up, instead of just from the hands up, then from the elbows up into the fingers. Now it's going all the way to the arm. So it's kind of like this energy flow I can feel in the hands. And in the hypnosis, I do not remember if I felt that. I just felt like the hands were, feeling heavy. And I was just relaxed. I was just laying there. But I'm sure the first time I was also like probably a bit stressed inside, because I expected something that she's kind of talking to me about. Now you visualize this, now you go there. Can you see this and that? Can you feel this, whatever bad memory you have forgotten? And suddenly you memorize, or a memory comes up you didn't know you had, right? But it was just laying there. So there was probably this inner conflict, because I expected something, but I felt, how did I feel? Heavy afterwards. Okay. It's like from a sleep, but relaxed.
Cool. Thank you. And hypnosis is very subjective experience for everyone. And what it sounds to me by your description of the experience that you had with the hypnosis, you had experienced some deep state of trance with some time distortion and kind of sleepiness, that your conscious mind was focused on that meadow, that you kind of relaxed on that grass, and your subconscious mind was open for and absorbing the suggestion, because whereas hypnosis is one of the point of the hypnosis is to enhance and open the suggestibility of the brain. So there are like different parts of us that are that are playing all the time, and hypnosis is kind of opening up some parts, or can open up some parts if that's needs to be done in the therapy. So to me, it sounded like it was quite successful session. And of course, I'm only hearing what you are saying. I have not witnessed that, so it's difficult for me to say anything. But at the same time, it seems that you had some expectation prior experiencing the hypnosis. And this is what a lot of people have when they come to see me. Oh, I expect that, or I have heard everything that you're saying, and that's not a hypnosis. Well, in hypnosis, if I don't need you to go that deep, or maybe this is the first or second session that we are doing together, you're gonna hear everything that I'm saying. You might not, but it's okay. So everyone have different experience. And the hypnosis that you did, you said it was very, very relaxing, but some people, they don't have relaxing experience at all. Some hypnotherapists, they do hypnosis when the people are standing up. For example, the stage hypnosis, it doesn't need to feel comfortable. So I remember once I experienced like full body catalepsy, I think it's called. So I was placed between two chairs. So my back was on one chair and my legs were on the second chair, and basically my back and my bottom and thighs were up in the air, and I was stiff just between those chairs.
Oh.
And that's, you can experience it in hypnosis. I had like experienced loads of crazy stuff, like people were just burning my hair on my arm by with a candle, like when I was hypnotized. So I experienced kind of, and didn't feel pain. And of course the hypnosis is used for those dental or surgical procedures as well. You can have the hypnotic anesthesia, that you can go through the whole operation without any painkillers or anything like that, or anesthesia. Is just under hypnosis. And what the research indicates actually, that the healing process afterwards, it's much quicker. You can have something that is called hypnobirth, and the hypnobirthing actually, it's very quantitative. What is great about hypnobirthing and things like dental procedures or surgical procedures is the fact that you can quantify that somehow. So you can ask people who are going through the hypnobirthing, for example, and ask, how did it feel? How painful that was? And there are some reports that suggest that people who are going through the hypnobirthing are experiencing subjectively less pain than people who are going through just natural birth.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that reminds me that I actually know someone locally, which, jack of many trades, I would say. When I talked to him, he was a gardener, then he was hypnotherapist, then he's doing printing, he's doing photography. And he told me what I remember is like dentist, that he was probably working with a dentist, so that people which didn't want to have, local anesthesia, they got hypnotized by him, so they could get operated on the teeth. And that's just something coming up while you're sharing it. I completely forgot about that. So, but when you use hypnotherapy for therapy, not for the stage and or for operations, who is normally profiting? what kind of people profit from such a therapy? Is that like everyone, or is it like someone with special needs?
I would say that hypnotherapy, and in fact any type of therapy, it's great for everyone. And look, we have our physical body that we attend to. We eat, we drink, we go to toilet, we have shower on daily basis. We take care of our physical bodies. Yeah. And we are born and we die with our mind. You know, we are constantly 24/7 with ourselves or our lives. And what do we do to attend that? Yeah, there are some great practices like meditation that can help us out, but sometimes meditation is not the solution for everything. And therapy, just spending that hour a week with someone to talk about your experiences, it can be very profound, life-changing experience. And even if you and the therapy, it doesn't mean that you need to go to therapy or see therapists only when you feel down. Like you go to have a massage just to feel your body feel, lighter or remove some tensions. And the same can go with the hypnotherapy or with any other modality of therapy. You can go there just to talk, just to make sure, have that kind of radar check that, oh, how am I doing? Is that everything, is something sleeping under my radar? Am I doing good? It's like just this kind of self-gauging exercise. Like, how am I doing in the relationship to myself in the past, to my relationship in the future, to the relationship to my society, to the environment, to the world? So the therapy, it's that kind of mental shower, and I would strongly recommend that for everyone to go to. Not only when you experience depression, low mood, anxiety, phobia, public speaking fears, or exam fears, or whatever. It's such a wonderful gift just to talk about yourself and, have that experience that someone is there for you, to listen to you and be for you, not judging.
Yeah, but that's I had a similar talk with the physiotherapist, or was it physio, and then the other one is whatever, massage. That people should generally once a week or once a month go and just get their bones pulled back, and just get a massage. So, but we don't do it. So who is generally coming to you? Are you working over the state, or you have a private place?
No, I have my private practice, and I have different people that are coming to me. So I have people who are coming to me with, for example, with phobias. I have the people who are coming to me with low moods, anxieties, depressions. Of course, these are labels. I have people who are coming with different experiences. I have people who are just coming to me that want to be listened to and understood. I have the people who sometimes feel that they lost direction or meaning, and they just want to find that space that they can talk openly about what they go through, being heard and being understood.
Okay. But from what you shared before, do you also have people which just come and say, you know what? It's actually good for me. It's like, as you said, brushing the teeth, going in the bathroom, taking a shower, taking a walk in the forest. You have people coming to you like that and say, you know what? I want to have once a month or once a week a session just to keep maintenance of my mind.
I think, well, I don't have clients like that yet, but I have very good, how do I phrase that? yeah, I at the moment I don't have the clients like that, but I feel that this is to come. I feel that the more and more people are kind of awakening to that you know, going to therapy doesn't mean that it's unbroken, because people who are going to the therapy are not broken at all. They are just people with the experience, and the experience is normal. Whatever it is, it's not good or bad.
I love that one. They are people with experience, and we have to learn to not judge. So let me see how I take it from there, because we had such a deep talk last time. Don't remember how we ended up in it, so the listeners can follow us. Let's say you talked also about source of emotions in the beginning, emotional awareness. How has this changed for you going through this, through your life journey with hypnotherapy and the interest on the different religion, different spiritual teachings? How did it change for you, the emotional awareness?
Whew, Oliver, that is such a difficult question, a wonderful question, though, but wow. How do I phrase that?
I love to put my guests into the deep end of the pool.
Okay, so how do I even begin? What is well, okay, so what are the emotions? You know, the emotions are primary, and we live in the Western world that, especially if you are a young male that was born and raised 30 or 40 years ago, you might have heard from your parents that, oh, leave those emotions behind, because, you know, we don't deal with emotions. But emotions are primary, and the neuroscience tells us that the emotions are, you know, the people like Lisa Feldman Barrett, David Eagleman, and people like that, they are always telling that emotions are those vehicles, they carry the message. So the emotions is primary, it goes before even your thought. So we feel, we are people and animals, human animals are primary creatures that feel, and the feeling comes before thinking. What is happening as a hypnotherapist, or in fact as any therapist, what you need to do in order to be fit for work, you need to spend a lot of time going through the clinical supervision. So going through talking with someone who is much more experienced with you, to make sure that you are doing everything according to kind of code of ethics, code of conduct, that you are doing everything in your power to help that person that you are working with. Second thing, that's your obligation to have the right level of self-care, wherever that self-care might be. For me, self-care is physical exercise, is good diet, good nutrition, meditation, regular meditation, being creative, you know, playing music, listening to music, reading books, having that level of awareness, committing CPD. So, you know, reading a lot, listening to interesting podcasts, having the interesting conversations like with people like yourself. So having all of that. And when you go into the therapy, you need to park yourself. So it sounds very abstract, okay? But when I go to see my client, or my client comes to see me, or we have the, you know, because I work with people worldwide, like I operate only on a Zoom, so I work with people from all over the place. And I teach meditation as well, not only hypnotherapy. So when people are coming to me, I leave my ego or myself behind that door, you know. It's, I am for them. And when you are coming, it's like when you are coming to see me, you are sharing 1 hour per week with me, and you know, you are with yourself 24/7, 365 days, and you are coming for 1 hour. I'm not expert on your life. You are the expert. You are with yourself all the time. So if my ego wants to take over, and if I want to tell you, oh, you have to do that, or you have to do that, or I'm judging you because, oh, you have done this, so you need to do that, then I'm not doing my job. My job is to facilitate that platform, that open space that you can talk about your experience and just feel that you can talk, because just that relationship between therapist and the client, and that open space is the healing presence as well. It's very powerful and it's very profound. But I am not there to tell you what you need to do, and I have to leave myself behind. I have to leave the facade of Karol, who likes play on guitar and stuff like that, there. Because if I tell you, oh, if you experience that, so go and play, that's not going to work for you. That might work for me, but that's not going to work for you. So I need to work with you, get to know you, get to see the world through your eyes. And the only one way I can see your world through your eyes is when I forget about me. So that's why meditation, self-care, and all of that is super important for therapists, and extremely important, the fundamental part for the therapist to be. To be with the client, for them to have that psychological maturity. And another thing is, when you start doing a lot of hypnosis and meditation, you start watching your thoughts, your patterns, your emotions, and you realize that, there is a consciousness, is that awareness, that you are able to watch everything that unfolds before you. And the thoughts are like kind of the vehicles, they are coming and going, and the same emotions, and everything is temporary. All emotions that you feel it will go. Same as my voice. You don't know what the next word I am going to say is. You don't have any means to predict that. And same, you don't know what your next thought is going to be. What is your next emotion? And you can have the threshold that you constantly feel low. So there is greater likelihood that you might say, oh, I'm definitely going to feel shitty in the next moment. And the hypnotherapy, or the therapy, it can actually help you to kind of move that threshold, or work with you to move that threshold a little bit up, to see that, experiencing a low mood is not the only one option. And it takes time. Of course it does. But, what are the choices? You can stay there, or can go lower, or you can take the chance and try to be 10% happier, and the 10% happier is, wow, is great. It's being another self, So yeah, that's
So for you, what changed inside you? I mean, now you explained really nice on what you actually do when you have the sessions, that you're kind of, you're here, you're present, and you create a space of help and non-judgment, which is very important. But what has it changed for you as a person, like in your personal relation with yourself?
So, wow, again, very profound question. It's several things. One, it's the most important, I would say, is I am not my thoughts. I am not my emotions. These are temporary beings that enter field of my consciousness. If I have very bad day, which happens to everyone, and I am not the exception, and sometimes I have just shitty day, I can say openly and honestly, even if I felt that towards the end of my life, it is okay to experience that. It is just okay to feel what I feel now. That's it. Because it's still great to be alive, The second thing, like it is being a therapist and going through doing a lot of meditation. It is makes me wonder on daily basis how amazing our world is. Like, think about that from this perspective. We are living in the universe that is 13.8 billion years old. Basically, we are living on a rock, which is why, like, a rock spaceship that is orbiting the gigantic fireball, and that gigantic fireball gives us the power, gives us the life. It's like crazy, Terry Pratchett would write that, it's when he talks about the world that is on like gigantic turtle and elephants and all
Okay,
of that.
so you like Terry Pratchett. So that's a dirty secret.
Yeah, I do like him. But when he talks about that, the world is to say, it is crazy to think that there is a gigantic fireball that powers us, the same as the idea that the world is on placed on the gigantic turtles or gigantic elephant. It's the same crazy idea. They are crazy ideas. We are living in really crazy world. The whole universe is so fine-tuned for life. It's crazy how fine-tuned it is, and it's great. It's just great. And thinking about that from this perspective, like, the Big Bang and all of that, we are coming from the exactly same source, the stardust, and, all of the gold that we have in our body, that comes from a reaction in a supernova, that happened millions of years or billions of years ago. And the stardust was blown here on the planet. And we have that gold. We have that stardust from far distance of our galaxies. We all are built from the same atoms and molecules and all of that. And when we die, all of those atoms and molecules go into Earth again. And when we in the Western world, we see the world as in isolation. There is that eye lens, I look at the world out there, the world is out there. But no, I am the world, you are the world. We are the expression of that world in relationship to each other. So I truly want you to feel good, because I have that desire to feel good for myself, to have the best quality of life. And bloody hell, I want that for you. I really want that for you. And that it goes beyond, nation, race, religious affiliations, sexual affiliations, gender, and all of those identities that we create. We are more than our identities, and that's the beauty of being therapists, that you work with all of those people and you see them as people, not as the identities they carry.
Okay, I can definitely see that you have opened up. So this, for you as a therapist, it opened you up to there's more, that we are all together, right? Mm-hmm. So and I can see you talked about, doing all these meditations and stuff, the thoughts and emotions that come, and it's kind of like what I learned, what I heard several times is like, it's like a train station, right? If you let the train stop with the thoughts and the emotions, you will feel them and you will think them. But if you just let the train pass through, it will disappear again, right? Mm-hmm. So that it looks like you have learned through the training of hypnotherapist, because you had a lot of talks with other more experienced people, so you can be certified. And through your meditations, you have learned actually to disconnect from these feelings and thoughts, because you realize they're just a part of which comes and goes. How are you using them?
Not disconnect, because disconnection means that, I'm something beyond them, but I am them. Like when I experience anger, I am anger in that time. I accept it to be. I am not pushing it away. When anger comes, I let it be. When happiness comes, I let it to be.
So it's like accept it. You accept the feeling. How are you using the feeling? Can you use it as guidance? And if so, now this podcast is depression to expression, right? From depression to expression, and anger, especially frustration, low self-esteem, all these emotions which are really, I do not remember who made that bar, right, with very low frequency, and emotions are like anger and self-hate and all these things, and then love and bliss is, the higher vibrations, the higher emotions. But if you're depressed, stressed, and all these things, anxiety, you have like a lot of these lower emotions. And how can you not identify and say, I am anger, but you can say, I feel anger? And how do you learn to actually use these emotions to move forward, to come out of the depressed and negative state? And how can you, and the next thing is, that's now a combination, is like, how can you actually learn to feel those emotions or thoughts? Because when you're depressed, you depress everything, right? That's the name, right? You suppress, depress, everything is, you probably don't even realize you feel anything. It just is, right? I'm angry. But you don't feel it in your body. You just have this anger in you or this anxiety. How do you learn to start to, is that something you do in the hypnotherapy as well, to help people to actually feel the different emotions again, to be able to realize, oh, I have this feeling in me, I have this emotion in me? It's not, disconnect in a way that you are not the emotion. It's, you feel the emotion because you're much more than the emotion, right? Because you cannot be happy and sad in the same time. You just have this feeling at the moment, and it guides you in a direction.
These are two very good questions. Oops. And can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. No, I have a dog behind. My dog came below the table, and I was just stepping on her.
Okay. Yeah, it's very often happens to me as well. But my dog is downstairs today, not with me. It's two very, very good questions. And firstly, I would like to come back to that chart, the low frequencies and high frequencies. And I don't find it, and a lot of I perhaps open up myself for a lot of criticism, and sometimes I don't feel that this is useful categorization, because it places the condition of worth on people. If you don't experience the good feelings, or so-called good feelings like love and bliss, you're not vibrating high level, and you are somehow worthless, than because you vibrating at a low expression. So by vibrating at a low expression, you somehow feel worse. You should feel better, you should vibrate at the higher frequencies. So sometimes I don't see those categorizations, those polarization are helpful. Sometimes I see, you experience anger. Great, fantastic. This is what you experience.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Depression, it's when you were talking about repression and depression, that anhedonia, that not ability to feel, it's one of the expressions of depression. You can be so anhedonic in depression that you don't feel anything.
Yes, I know that feeling. It's terrible, because you have kids, you have a wife, and you're like, I have all of these great things, but there's nothing, there's no feeling. There's just is, right?
Yeah. But it is. Okay, it is. You don't feel anything, and it is the feeling itself. Not feeling anything is the feeling itself. So you start working with whatever client is bringing to you. It is anger. Fabulous. Let's talk about that anger. You feel anhedonia, you don't feel anything. Great. How is it for you? And you start picking this up. And when you have, repressed emotions like anger, there is a lot of anger, you can channel this somehow. You can use hypnosis for that. Let's channel this anger through hypnosis. Or you can say, what? Just go for a run, because that client might like running, and he might go and run 5K a day, and that might help them to release a lot of anger. And actually, there is a lot of physiological research that backs this up. It might be the case that someone likes painting. Okay, paint that anger. Do something creative with that. Write poem, read poem.
Play music.
Dance, write music, listen to music and shout, dance, sing, wherever. You work with whatever client is bringing to you. And all of this, the emotions, even happiness, happy, joy, bliss, emotions, they are signposts as well. They are those navigation clues that you are doing something right, or so-called right in your life. And the depression or low moods might be indication that you are not stepping into your authentic self, if you like those expressions.
Yeah, or your true self, or your
true
being,
self.
or
it's just your relationship with environment is not the way you want it to be. Just from the kind of physical perspective, from the ego perspective, it is something that you really like, something to change, and that's okay as well.
Yes, so you work with them, and like for me, not feeling, it was not fun, because not feeling was I can see that with drawing and painting and doing sport. I mean, I also remember a talk a few years ago. Someone told me, be careful to do sports when you're angry. And I can see the point, because if you go running when you're angry, you might just go a little bit too far. Mm-hmm. And then you might not go running for a few weeks or months afterwards, because you might break something. So it's always this balance, because I do see the point when you're really angry and you love to be in your body, right? To do something physically. And not overdo it. Like if you punch the punching bag and then suddenly you punch so hard that you come and break your hand or rip something, right?
Yeah, that's why there is really important to have that risk assessment. So for example, if if I work with someone who is very physical and is very athletic, and for them running 5K a day is not a problem, I wouldn't say go and run 10K a day. I would say just stick to 5K a day, Yeah. And for those people they would do exactly what they have done.
Yeah, it's just so you're not overrun and just overspeed, and then you break a muscle or fiber because you just are so angry that it can really push you forward to do more than you usually can. But remembering this in the physical, I was playing badminton a bit, which I didn't ever expect to like do it. I did basketball, football, martial arts, mountain bike, and so on and so forth. And I realized when I had this depressive phases where you really are heavy, right? And then going to work out, 50 kilos deadlift was just like heavy. And I'm like taking 180 kilos, but 50 kilos was killing me. Going to badminton, having this trainer, which was in the top 10 in the US originally, he's Danish. And you can go free to where he has a little studio to play. And then he knew that like I'm angry, right? So he can see that. Everyone can see that when I'm angry. I think I can see it in other people as well. But you start playing easily, right? Just get that ball over the net. And such a racket is not heavy. And the ball is not heavy. It's not like tennis. Tennis, the racket is harder, and the ball, when you hit, I think it's harder. But badminton is very light. I could see after 10, 20 minutes, suddenly, I could get more and more energetic. And then suddenly I could go really high and the pulse goes up and I was done. I'm like, wow, I just feel good. I'm not heavy. I'm not tense. It's, you know what I mean? It's like the grip around your body, around your mind. So how do you get out of that? Now I gave an example what worked for me, which might not work for other people, right? And what is it when you have this procrastination coming with these so-called negative feelings, these heavy feelings, because they really feel heavy. They really drag me down energetic wise. That's why I use this chart. And I love to paint. I love to work out, but I cannot get myself pushed. I live alone at home with a dog. What can a person do in that situation? I mean, they couldn't call you and say, hey, I need a therapy session with you. But what else could they do?
Just trying to figure out, really. And with the therapy, you would just figure out. And you can ask yourself like, oh, I experience that feeling right now, the intensity of that feeling, you can add the scale on that experience, like from 1 to 10, how intensive that feeling is. So I feel like procrastinating right now, and that feeling is 8 out of 10. Then just tune into that feeling, and yeah, you can take it from there really, and figure out like, what is the meaning of that? What is that feeling tries to tell me? Or you can say something along the line like, even if I experience that toward till end of my days, it's okay, you know, because with the procrastination, sometimes it's again this kind of bit of Western culture coming into play, that we need to prove ourselves that we are, productive members of society. And as Eric Fromm said, the human animals are the only animals in the whole kingdom that are concerned with what being is rather than just being. So we've tried to figure out the way of being rather than just enjoy being. So, but sometimes figuring it out yourself might be a strategy, but sometimes those feelings might be just too overwhelming. So go and see therapists who will be able to work with you. It's sometimes the safest option. It depends, all depends on the severity of your experience, because life throws a lot of stuff at us, and sometimes it is challenging. Sometimes we feel overwhelmed, but it doesn't need to feel like that. We don't need to cross this path alone. If you have that capacity to cross this path alone, great, do it. And perhaps if you know how to do it, you perhaps will already know all of those, the things that I said, but if you don't, just it's absolutely okay to go and see therapists. And saying that, sorry, I just need to get a sip of water.
Yeah. So while you take a drink,
saying that, it's sometimes okay to just feel lazy and procrastinating. This is our life, we don't need to perform 100% all the time. Sometimes giving few days a break, it's okay. There are other stuff like maybe structuring your day. Just maybe it's not even like psychological or anything like that. It might be just the time management or planning. Maybe just reading a book like Deep Work by Cal Newport might do world of good, or book like Peak Performance. That might do some good. Do some research about like how to enter the flow state and this kind of stuff. So there is loads of things that can be done. And again, I'm talking, everything that I said here is working with in very abstract categories. It needs to be really specified to the client or to the experience of that person who is coming to see a therapist.
Yeah, that I just mentioned these things because they come up in my head. So when there are two things. One is like, many people underestimate how deep they are actually in a depression or in a negative, spiral, because you get so used into feeling like that I know people which say, no, everything is fine, but like, no, go to a therapist. Don't go to a doctor, right? Go to a therapist and look at your mental state, at your energy, spiritual state, your emotional state. So that can be also for some people hard, because as you said, going to a therapist is not because you're broken. It's just because of your experiences, and you need help to kind of work with those experiences because you haven't learned it yet. And the other thing is try to figure out the intensity of the feeling. And I was thinking, what came to mind for me was like, okay, if you feel something like that, and you said like, give it a rating from 0 to 10 or 1 to 10, would you, for me, it sounds like, okay, sit down or stand or lay down or whatever feels comfortable, and just feel into your body and feel into that feeling, be present, right? You said also
Mm-hmm.
you're present. Be present with that feeling, and then ask those questions. Is it, what is it meaning for me, right? I think that also goes a bit into what I meant before with this emotional awareness. I guess it's like, okay, you feel the emotion, and then you're like, oh shit, it's really strong, and it's hindering you in doing something. Perhaps you're euphoria, right? You're full of happy feelings as well, but you're so full of happy feelings you cannot focus on getting the job done you wanted to do because you're
Yeah.
so happy, you're dancing around, you do all these things. I think then you also should sit down and say, what is it? What's going on in me? What is this feeling? What is the meaning? And probably like check. Some people go and scan their body if you can, if you're that far and you can scan the body and feel like, where in my body is this emotion expressing itself, right? Is it in the heart? Is it in the head? Is it in the lower stomach, in the knees? So very thank you for giving that train of thought, so to speak.
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. The only one thing with the body scan I would say, just to add to this, is that when you feel emotion that arises, and when you, for example, do something, and I don't know, let's take an example of washing dishes, and you feel overwhelming sadness or overwhelming joy. If you remove yourself from the situation, go and sit down and start doing the body scan, that might change your experience. Because our consciousness is so much embedded within our bodies, that when you change the body posture, it's like, whether sometimes like when you sit like that. So I don't know whether this is going to be audio or video, but at the moment I'm sitting with my back crunched, but when you open up, you expand your chest, you take your hands behind you and like take full breath, it changes your expression. So sometimes when you remove yourself from the experience because you want to go and do that body scan, it changes the quality of that experience.
So how would you do it then? So while you're washing and you feel this overwhelming sadness or joy, you will continue washing and scan while you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just notice whatever arises at the moment when it arises. Capture it. As and when.
It sounds a bit medium advanced level. So, but I think you said also you train meditation and so on. So there's like, again, there's always 2 or 3 paths I can take when my clients say something. That's my gift. So one thing is, of course, to get to know your emotions and feeling. It's like get to have a practice of meditation, but let's have that talk afterwards. The other thing, which is now slipping my mind, obviously. Yeah, so it slipped my mind, so it's not important. So we go down the so we go down this.
Come back.
It might come back if it's important for this talk. So yeah, so you're not used to it. You listen to this episode. You're not confused yet by what we said, and you're still here. And you say, besides my alarm goes off for whatever reason. Yep. So you say, okay, I do not know meditation. Okay, what is this? What I've learned, and this is true for me and apparently for a lot of people, is get yourself 5 minutes a day, wherever you think you have time, probably at lunch, right? Or in the evening or in the morning, where you can learn to sit down and just feel your thoughts or your body. You can do this body scan. And wow, that's a big bottle for juice.
It's a spring water. So there are hills quite close to where I live, and it's a very nice and spring water. So I go and collect that from local well. Yeah, and that water is absolutely amazing. So that's why the big bottle.
Yeah. So we go back to the meditation. So you practice sitting down, feeling into your body, however you can, right? There's no right, there's no wrong. We all are different, as Karol also said. We all have different experiences, different knowledge where we are, and just you can have closed or open eyes and just feel. 5 minutes is enough, 2 to 5 minutes. And the better you get, then you can add 2 times a day, 3 times a day, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever feels good for you. And I think when you are able to actually go through the body, you get used to that. Then while you wash or while you clean the car or while you drive, you can start to actually get to scan the body while in the action. So what is your experience with meditation?
Sorry, I have to ask this question. Like, what do you mean by asking that question? What is my experience with meditation?
Yeah, I like to have these open questions. You teach meditation and you do hypnosis, and what I shared now with a way to go into the meditation. So what is your tip? Is it the same? Do you have another tip for people which are new to meditation to get into meditation? You could, of course, also have guided meditations where people help you and say, feel your head, now you feel your throat, now you feel your shoulders, now you feel your left arm, right arm, body check, all these things.
Yeah, absolutely. There are many types of meditation, of course, different types of meditation that are coming from, or meditative experiences or breathing exercises. They are coming from different approaches and from different schools. You have like Kundalini exercises. But I suppose one of the meditation that is super powerful is that meditation of insight. It's just finding the anchor that works for you, whether this might be a breath, or maybe this is just the visual space. You can close your eyes and kind of imagine the visual space. What's the boundaries of visual space? Or maybe this is just the sensation of your clothes, or maybe you imagine your body as the sensation, as a cloud of sensations, right? Just ever-changing energy of your body. You don't feel your body in any specific place, but it's just this fluctuation of energy that sprinkles through your body. And exactly as you said, start slowly, start with 2 minutes. There is a lot of research that suggests that optimal duration of meditation for you to notice observable differences is 12 minutes a day. So 12 minutes a day, you can actually have some measured differences in your behavior or with your relationship to the world. Of course, the meditation has been shown multiple times that there is increased volume of gray matter and white matter in your brain when you are practicing meditation. And the most important thing that I have to say about the meditation, you are not doing it wrong. You know, there is no such a thing as getting bad meditation, or is not getting, there is no such a thing as aim in meditation. You are not doing meditation to get to somewhere when it comes to insight meditation, yeah? And there is no improvement in meditation. So meditation just is. And it is no right or wrong way of doing it. I advise people just to sit down, because lying down is a great chance of just falling asleep. So sit down. Of course, there are some practices like Zen meditation that you need to sit in a very rigid posture and have that rigid posture. But you know, just sit down. Make sure that you're not best if your legs are touching floor. If you cannot cross them, if it doesn't feel very comfortable, just make sure that they touch the floor. Don't cross your arms, don't cross your legs, and just find the anchor, whatever that might be. Breath, you know, visual space, those things that I mentioned before. Sounds.
Exactly, sounds. That works for me sometimes, just to listen to whatever is there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like I once listened to my fridge for an hour. It's beautiful.
Thank you for that example. I think that is actually a really good example that for people which are not meditating yet and say, what sound? I have this fridge, I have this clock. Perfect. Listen to the clock. I mean, what can be, I mean, and there's like, what is the difference between a hypnosis and a meditation? Because I think of listening to my wall clock for 10 minutes or something, I'm completely going in another space, I would say. I will probably be more hypnotized by listening to the tick, 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 tick sound. So what is the difference between hypnosis and meditation there?
Let me just go on the meditation for a moment. Yes. So
yeah,
in the summertime, when I went to visit my family in Poland, and there were so many bloody annoying mosquitoes. Well, they were not bloody annoying for me because I was fasting asleep in the room with, a couple of mosquitoes. And, you have this feeling of they fly around and they make those noises. And the meditation is actually teaching you the control, or, different relationship with need for control. So I had this exercise that, I was going to a room perhaps a little bit earlier than my wife just to meditate, and I was listening to those mosquitoes and just trying to be cool with it. It's just the sound, and they can sit on my forearm, and it is what it is. I don't have of course I have control. I can kill it, or I can just move, push it away or whatever. But the goal of that exercise was just to accept the circumstances I am in without judgment. And if you think about that, the sound of a mosquito is annoying sound for most of the people because we make that association. I love rock music. I love jazz, classical music. I love all music in general. I absolutely love music. But let's say, I love rock music, yeah? But for some people, the rock music is noise. There is no difference between mosquito flying around and rock music. So whether we like sound or no, is our association with it. And through meditation, we can actually find it out. And what is the sound? What's the sound? What is the breath? What happened to my breath 2 minutes ago? And just to finish it off on the meditation, a lot of people say, and that's my experience, that I cannot meditate because my thoughts keep coming. Well done. Welcome to the world. This is our brain. This is the way we were designed. This is the goal of meditation is not to stop your thoughts coming. They will be coming. What you do with meditation is like when you notice that the thought is coming, observe it, let it go, and gently return to the point of anchor, whether that anchor is sound of mosquito, sound of fridge, your breathing, the weight of clothes, sensation of sitting, wherever that is, just gentle return to your anchor. Move away, let your thought or emotion move you away and go back. Move, and it's that balance, is that movement, that meditation is that movement, that balancing act. Okay, so now you ask about what is the difference between meditation and hypnosis. I have my podcast as well, Oliver, that I'm more than happy to give you the link to it. And I have on my podcast, I have spoken with multiple people, with different people from different schools, like Buddhist scholars, meditation teachers, hypnotherapists, academics, philosophers. And I try to explore that question. What is the difference between hypnosis and meditation? And when we look into, there are some neurological differences if you look into the brain closely. But in my opinion, the main difference with the hypnosis and meditation is the purpose and usage. So the hypnosis is more guided stuff, like I guide you into hypnosis to do some therapeutic work. The hypnosis is stuff that you can do for yourself. Even though the state of consciousness might feel very similar, or it might feel completely different, they are going through the changes that occur in your brain are very, very similar. Hypnosis is opening up the suggestibility, so the hypnotherapist is able to work with you on installing new software, if you like. In the meditation, you do it yourself. And sometimes you're not even, it's not about installing new software, it's about clearing out the RAM on your computer.
Yeah, it's debugging probably.
It's debugging, yeah.
Or just remove, the how is
It's
it
just
called
remove the
in
junk and,
yeah, the
making
junk.
sure
Yeah,
that,
yeah, clean up like the cage
yeah,
cleaning and getting
yeah,
rid of all the things which are not used anymore.
yeah,
So the flow happens again. Like you said, clean the empty room which is filled with different objects. Clean the objects which are broken, are not used anymore. Clean them out so you can better path
yeah,
through.
yeah. And the final thing, sorry, the meditation doesn't need to be pleasant, because a lot of people think that, oh, I go into meditation and every time I am going to have that blissful state. No, you go into meditation and sometimes it can be really painful. It can be very uncomfortable, and it can be, if you are angry, how come you can expect that you're gonna have beautiful and blissful meditation? No, you're gonna be angry. But it's just sitting with those emotions, being uncomfortable and exposing yourself into that uncomfortable situation, into that discomfort, is something that enables you to grow. Same like if you go to the gym to build your muscle, you break the muscle. By lifting weights, by doing deadlift, you break the muscle. And then the muscle are given opportunity to rebuild themselves, and they grow bigger. So with meditation, you expose yourself into the mystery of your mind, sometimes very uncomfortable mystery of your mind, and you build yourself stronger.
Yeah, I was just thinking the last minutes while we were talking, or not, I didn't really think. I just felt, I'm like, wow, talking to people for that podcast for me is kind of like an exercise of being present. It's kind of like a meditation, not the same, right? Because I'm talking, but it's kind of like practicing being in the now.
Exactly. But you think about like Asian, like samurai warriors being in the battlefield, they're fighting and they practicing meditation. Then they have that spatial awareness that normal people, they don't have the access to it. There are exercises like walking meditation. There are mindful exercises like mindful eating, or
Cleaning,
there are
mindful cleaning, mindful parenting.
Mindful parenting. These are all meditative experiences. Going through the physical exercise, it's meditation. It can be seen as the meditation. It's all the framework. The meditation is not just the sitting practice that you sit down. It's great starting point, but it's how you blur the boundaries between the formal meditation and rest of your life. When I work with clients, that hour of concentration, that's the hour of meditation. That's the hour of me being fully present. And that conversation that we are having right now, I completely mirror your experience. I have to be concentrated. I have to be aware and awake and present with you. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to have the interaction with you as we are having right now. So yes, this conversation can be seen as some form of meditative experience.
Yeah, and there's I try to round up the whole discussion because we have quite some talk. Not that I want to stop it. There's much more we can talk, but let's see if I can somehow round it up into self-expression and all these things. What comes up right now when you said it was probably the question that flew away, or not, or it's a different question. Who knows? It just is. When you are giving a therapy session, when you are with a person for this 1 hour, you said your ego is out of the door. We got that. I was thinking of hearing people talk, of reading books, of talking to other people. Giving such a session, you say you need to have a good structure in life, like with meditation, with eating, with physical exercise, with listening to music and reading books. Terry Pratchett, I've heard. I actually thank you for the reminder. I thought I want to read something funny, and I have a lot of these all these science books. So Terry Pratchett, I'll check out if I can find some books at the library, because then your brain is definitely going somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But how is it for you when you give these therapies? Are you drained afterwards? How many therapies can you give a day? Is there a limit? Because I can imagine when you give massage and physio and so on, so there's a certain limit of what you can give before you're really drained physically, emotionally, energetic wise. How is it for you with a hypnotherapy? Do you feel a drainage you give from yourself, or because you can disconnect so well that it's just, like any other work?
If I'm working too hard to giving a therapy, it means that I'm not doing my job right, because I'm fixing client and I'm not being for them. The best therapist feels like I am not working at all. I'm just creating that platform. How paradoxically it might sound, the client is responsible for healing themselves. I am creating that platform. I'm assisting that, we are on the same boat. We are going into the same direction, but the client is doing the heavy lifting. If I do heavy lifting, it's mean that I'm fixing the client, and actually I'm taking the responsibility for something that client needs to do, and the therapy is not effective. So yeah, the best therapies are when it doesn't even feel like I've been working.
So basically you come down after 5 sessions, you get dinner and you're full of energy, and your wife is like,
no,
did you work today? Like, yes, I worked. I was the best therapist. I have lots of energy now.
No, it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. It's like with the intensive conversation, after 2 hours of the conversation that we have now, it feels like, I would do with some rest. Yeah. And they are different different days. Sometimes I feel full of energy and I can have multiple sessions, and sometimes, oh my God, it's just life, it's just life. And it is normal for any job. Like if you're a bus driver, sometimes you can drive for hours and it's fine, and sometimes it's just like, I can't be asked today.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so but I just joked a bit about that, right? That you're full of energy afterwards.
Yeah.
But it's probably also good if there's a wannabe therapist listening to this episode and is just on the path to learn or has the first customer. So this is kind of a guideline, right? If you're completely drained after giving sessions, you do the heavy lifting. So try to, do less lifting, so to speak. Yeah. Then for the part of expression, what do you, in your experience now with the therapy, your own life experience, when is a person expressing themselves mostly? What are like some of the key points you can see?
Pretty great question. And it's there are multiple reasons why people are coming to the therapy. And people sometimes are coming to the therapy, and after a few sessions, it turns out that actually the reason why they came for the therapy is not the reason why they came for therapy. It was just the kind of the surface level stuff. But the stuff that we are working on, the deep level stuff, is something that we, is actually revealed to them. And sometimes it is not like that. Sometimes people are coming and staying for 5-6 sessions and that's it, job's done. And some people are staying for years. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. And even though they might be staying for years or months or what have you, or anything in between, the milestones can happen at any time. People are very complex creatures, and we exist in the multidimensional space, in the social and environmental, personal, romantic, sexual dimensions, and biological, and many others. And yeah, they all come into play, and they all have impact on our lives. So yeah, the milestones, and then being able to reveal and get to discover all of those layers, it is sometimes milestones for people. So yeah, it's different for everyone. It's absolutely different for everyone.
So so it takes, of course, from a point of therapy, you never know how many sessions you need for someone to find themselves. But for expressing oneself, I mean, it's what I'm looking for is probably something like, I don't know, what I've had in the talks so far on this theme, right? Was more like the self-acceptance and self-love. So when you love yourself and you accept yourself completely, that then you're able to express yourself more truly without fearing the precaution. What is the word? It's in my head, but it doesn't really come out. Without fearing how other people think of how you express yourself. When I express myself, I have paintings here. I talk to you. I want to play music, but I can see there's this fear factor of let's say painting certain paintings, or now I'm working on the logo for the podcast, right? That it's not good enough, that it's offending, that it's not representing what I want. So what is your experience? When are people actually free? Yes, when are people free of the fear of being themselves and expressing themselves in whatever way it is? Dancing, singing, music, writing, painting, acting.
It's a lifelong process. It's a journey. You never got to the point that you're free 100%. You never get to the point that you are fully accepting yourself, because you are fully accepting yourself in that moment in time. And it's great if that can last for years, but then you always have that another day and another day and another day. It's like you cannot prove, if that makes sense looking from the scientific point of view, you cannot prove that it's going to be long-lasting change, that is going to last forever, because life might throw something at you that it can be wherever it might be. So that is the process. It is self-loving, being authentic with yourself is a process of self-checking, is self-inquiry, self-reflection, and you have to commit to that day in and day out to stay on top. It's that discipline that enables people to express, and through that discipline, through that work, and when I say work, I'm not, it's not, it's pleasant work. I'm biased, of course, but this is pleasant work because it enables you to be really, truly who you are, and really discover and to get to know you. You are awakened, but to be awakened, you are waking up all the time, moment by moment by moment by moment by moment. You never get to the point that, oh, that's it, I'm done.
Yes, I think that's where we go now. So thank you. That's beautiful. It's like understanding that the only thing that stays the same is that change is Jesus, what's wrong with my English today? Inevitable. Yeah, I guess. I think after 2 hours of talking with you, my tongue is also getting heavy and the words are not coming so easily as they come up in my mind. So there's a disconnection now from what the word is sounding in my head and how it comes out of my mouth.
Yeah, I get that. And yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think it was Heraclitus who said that, the man cannot step twice to the same river because no man is the same and the river is not the same.
Wow.
And it's it's true.
I've never heard that one, but that makes sense. And it's I think this is part of this awakening. I mean, it's like this new age, whatever word, awakening. I think it's also being aware and perceiving the world anew is kind of like how you could also describe this awakening, is just to realize that you're more than you think you are, right? That there's more in you, as we had now with this hypnosis, like there's emotions in you, there's thoughts in you, there's an energy body. We didn't talk about the whole energy body, like the Ayurvedics talk from India, the Chinese, right? The meridian system and whatever energy system, chakras and so on and so forth, we can measure by now. So if people say, this is all bullshit, this is Chinese, we can measure it. There's the Heart Center Institute and so on and so forth. These different energy centers are connected to organs in our body, which are emitting a slight magnetic field. And also chi, the life force. It's apparently like light emitting from our body. We can also see that with new technology. So Western science is catching up with the Eastern knowledge. You also mentioned that before. And I think that's the awakening process, is to realize, at least awakening is probably something more Western than it is for other cultures, because they're more, as you mentioned as well, like emotions are part of us, which are guiding us. And we are growing up in a culture where only now we teach our kids to accept their emotions, to love their emotions, to use their emotions as guidance, and not shy away and say, no, I do not feel like saying hi to the people because I feel like I need space for myself. I was not allowed to do that. You're egoistic. What's wrong with you? You have to be nice. How do you think my friends look at me as parent, that my son is not saying hi to every one of you? But I didn't feel good that day. I needed to have space for myself. Now I had to greet 20 people. I had to kiss them on the cheek or give them the hand, but I didn't feel like. I think this is parts we are learning in the Western world to accept more, to set our boundaries, to feel our emotions, and to realize sometimes interactions like between you and me, even though it's over Zoom, even though we're both I'm not on an island, or am I? No, I think not. But there's a big piece of water in between us, and there's still a connection somehow, energetically, spiritually, mentally. It's beautiful, and that we are on a continuous journey. I think that's also what I meant with the awakening, that we are on a continuous journey to redefine who we are and to fall in love over and over with ourselves. Because if we do not love ourselves, how can we love other people?
Absolutely. Yeah. And one of the things that I say, I kind of believe, is that hurt people. If you so it's also, and love in Western world, it's such a cliche word when you say about the connections and when you say about the spiritual values and things like that. Love is sometimes used as this very cliche word that you need to love people and you need to love yourself, but actually this is the most profound experience that can add the meaning to your life, like from the love of your child to your child. Or there is so much research like into meta loving kindness meditation, for example, the meditation that is all about the compassion and love of other human being. And we can measure that practicing the meta loving kindness meditation can expand your life span by, it's have the impact on reducing the time for your telomeres to shorten and expand your DNA lifespan and all of that. So these are all tangible and measurable outcomes of the meditation, loving kindness meditation. So although there were some people like Richard Dawkins who was saying about like selfish gene, that people are basically competitors, there is no love, we were not designed to love, and basically evolution don't care whether you're happy or no. I disagree with that 100%. I feel that we flourish when we love. I feel that we flourish when we collaborate. I believe that we flourish when we care about each other. And I think this is the Western society started awakening to that and rediscovering that, there is much more to this life than suffering, and it's worth to focus on love. And the Eastern traditions like Buddhism and Hinduism, they knew it 5,000 years ago. Anything and nothing that they have said today, it's new to them. They knew it.
So it's but I think also this is a part of when we get into depression, is really when this self-love and the self-acceptance is not there, because there's self-hate, self-judgment right?
Mm-hmm.
Also, you also talked a lot about not judging the people. So I think also to accept yourself and love yourself, you should stop judging. And I talk to myself, right? It's like look in the mirror, look into the camera, whatever, look into your eyes and just be thankful, be grateful, and feel it. And I guess with meditation and hypnosis, you can get a step closer there. If or did you see that with your clients that they started to have more self-acceptance, more self-love?
Yeah, absolutely. And for example, with the hypnosis, some people who have experienced like low mood for so long time, they go and they kind of tensed all the time. Hypnosis is the first time they have felt relaxed for years, and that relaxation turned into that gratefulness and gratitude. Oh my God, it was so nice and heartwarming. And it's the first time that they felt that warmth on their heart for so many years. And when you hear that, when you have that connection with the other human being, and you kind of be a part of that process, that that touches you as well. It changes you, and it's great to be able to witness that in people.
I guess that must be yeah, that's a gratefulness practice in itself, right? Seeing other people opening up.
Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely.
Is there anything, actually, I think I made a round for this time. We might have another round because there's a few questions more, but 2 hours is, I think, enough for the listeners at this time.
Yeah.
By the way, you don't have to listen to that from A to Z at one go. I don't do that sometimes. You can also split it up.
Long time. So
yes.
But I hope that if you listen to this and you get to this point, I hope that you kind of enjoy it. So
and learn something. And
learn something.
Yes. Is there any question I forgot completely that comes up into your mind?
Oliver, this is your show. So if you
that's why I ask. That's why I ask.
No, I think that I think that you did very well. Thank you very much for hosting. You've been absolutely brilliant, and I really enjoyed chatting to you and answering your questions. So yeah. So really grateful.
So yeah, that's going to the gratefulness practice, self-love. It's how to. You mentioned you have your own podcast, and how can people reach out to you once if they want a therapy? You mentioned you use Zoom online hypnotherapy sessions, so anyone around the world can call in at best at 12 o'clock at night. And the podcast and wherever you want to send people.
So basically, if you Google my name, that you should have all of the information. My podcast is available on Spotify, but I can share the links with you so you can attach to the description of the episode if that's at all possible. If it's not possible, just search my name, Karol Kosinski.
Yeah, with K. Karol Kosinski is written with K, not with C.
Yes, that's correct. That's Polish name. Yeah. And yeah, you will be able to find me there. I've got a website, and I'm on few directories like Hypnotherapy directory, and you will be able to find all of the contact information to me from there as well.
Yes. Are you on LinkedIn as well?
Yes.
Yeah. So LinkedIn, Instagram as well, or?
No, I am not on Instagram. I do some meditation in Polish, so I have the Facebook. That is just kind of the business side. Just for the Polish speaking audience that I lead the meditation for. But at the moment, this is kind of dormant because I have the new responsibilities in my life. So I had to stop that. And I am not very active on social media at all. But yeah, I'm happy for people to connect with me on LinkedIn as well.
Yes. And the podcast is just called Karol Kosinski Show, or?
Just Karol Kosinski on Spotify.
So you don't have a specific title?
No.
Hypnotherapist goes meditation or something?
No. I might need to think about that, but it's just yeah, it is what it is at the moment. I'm
Yeah,
happy
but
with it.
yeah, but just for the podcast, before I close down, it is about hypnotherapy and meditation. What is the difference and what are the common ground? Is that what you're talking about?
Mainly, yes. It's it's different aspects of like spiritual development, spiritual growth, philosophy, and everything that people can find interesting in terms of like how to operate with our minds. So I talk to people from like philosophers, academic researchers, psychotherapists, hypnotherapists about what does it mean to have good and balanced life, and what is the recipe for success.
There we go. And with that, now you know where you go after you have listened to all the episodes of this show, right?
Absolutely.
Then you can go to Karol Kosinski and find more out about the spiritual thing. And anyway, my podcast here, I will also talk to other scientists, other therapists, shamans, medicine men and women, whatever, on the spiritual path, spiritual growth, the mysticism, but everything around the theme of, from depression to expression. How can a person, go from the dark side to the light side? We will also have some Star Wars actors and people. No, I don't know. Would be fun though, but who knows? Where
Fingers crossed for that.
Yeah, I'm getting Harrison Ford talking about the dark side and the light side. No, he's not. Who knows? But thank you very much for your listeners, and see you on the next episode, or see you on the Karol Kosinski show. Thank you so much.
Very much.